I'm delighted. I'm with Sir John Hayes, who is the MP for South Holland and the Deepings, I believe, is your constituency.
I am indeed.
And you cover Spalding in that constituency.
I do.
Yeah.
That's the biggest town.
Cash is very important in your constituency, isn't it?
It's vitally important. It's important for those people who don't choose to pay for things online or by card. It's really important for the small businesses who transact in cash. It's also important for the social interactions between people. You know, the more we make society anonymous, the more we do things remotely, the more we suck all of those connections to others out of daily life.
And it makes communities less like communities. It means you're robbed of that community spirit, aren't you?
Well, you fragment society, so you end up with disparate individuals who are often introspective, captives almost in their own home, captured by technology. And it's really important that we move against that, we counter that, and cash is part of that.
I like that phrase, captured by technology.
They've been captured by technology.
Not our servant, but actually our prison warden. Yeah, interesting.
Exactly, and so by using cash, by spending money in that way, just in the everyday things we do. You know, you might be going to buy some groceries, or you might be going to buy a newspaper. We talked about that earlier, weren't we? And you want to do that with cash. The person you're buying it from wants you to do that, and it's good for you too. And you have that connection, that community, as you described it.
So we've got in this country a charity that was surveyed recently, 16 million people who budget using cash. Now that means that 1 in every 2 households has somebody who budgets using cash. So it's immensely important, isn't it? It's not a fringe issue, it's not a marginal issue.
Well, 40 million voters have said, when surveyed, they want to be able to use cash. And they want others to be able to do that too. Sometimes the big organisations, the big banks, and all the denizens of the Treasury and all the other people say it's only really about marginalised people, about old people. Actually not. It's about people who choose to transact in cash, as I do every day.
We do have 13 million people over 65 though, and we must think of those people too.
Absolutely. So I don't in any way suggest that they're not significant, but we mustn't just let those who want to go the opposite way say, oh, well, when those people have gone, we can go, as there's an erosion of those people who depend on cash, we can get rid of it. We've got to make a bold and forward-thinking case for cash. Cash is just better. And so you're absolutely right, let's protect those in the greatest need, but let's make a confident case for cash. Free ourselves from the capture that, as you described it, we are now suffering as a result of increasingly technological ways of transacting.
And I think you will have noticed huge changes in your constituency over the years in terms of access to cash, because probably most of the bank branches have gone in your constituency, so access is now much more limited than it was.
Yes, I'm extremely critical of the banks that have abandoned the high streets. It's not in their customers' interests, it's in their own interests. And in my constituency, small towns that once had 3 or 4 banks have now got none. Even my principal town is losing banks. And so it's very difficult for people. They have to travel further and further. They simply want a conversation with another human being about their financial affairs. Why should that be so? Is that improving well-being, or is it diminishing our collective and personal well-being? I think it's the second. And so the banks need to step up and do the right thing. And I would want to see the re-dignification of our towns. Let's bring back magistrates' courts into towns. Let's open new elements of local government and government in our towns and villages. Let's expand those things that can be done locally. Distribute these things rather than centralise them. It's usually done on the grounds of rationalising. People say, well, we're rationalising provision. That usually means big organisations making more money at the expense of ordinary people.
Which we don't need to see. We want the ordinary people to benefit for a change, don't we?
Absolutely.
And most of the towns you've mentioned, the communities you mentioned, deserve to have banking hubs. So I can tell you, Sir John, we're meeting with FCA on the 3rd of March, and we'll be telling them that the current idea of having 350 banking hubs is totally inadequate. We've said you need 1,200 banking hubs because we have 1,200 communities in the UK with between 5,000 and 35 residents. All of those communities deserve to be the kind of communities that you've described. Living communities, active communities, communities that have real spirit and a feeling that they are modern and have a relevance, that they're not irrelevant and can be ditched by organisations like big banks.
The character of my constituency is in the secret of the name, as it were, South Holland and the Deepings.
Yeah.
I want the banking hubs you described in both parts of my constituency.
Yeah.
So in a small town like Long Sutton, which once had many banks, now has none.
Yeah.
Great place for a banking hub.
Yeah.
In the Deepings, in Market Deeping, Deepings St James, the heart of that part of my constituency, let's have a banking hub.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that when you go and see the FCA, you're going to be saying one of the places that you need to go is South Holland, the Deepings, because one of our great champions, a person who uses cash every day himself, who avoids online transactions, even card transactions, Sir John Hayes, deserves those banking hubs because his constituents deserve them.
Well, we will be aiming for that, Sir John, and we'll be aiming that every constituency gets banking hubs, because I think the public in your constituency and everywhere else deserve it. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you. Thanks.